Hey everybody, it's Jeff here from Jazzwire. So, welcome to Guided Listening this week. I want to dig into one by a great modern sax player, jazz player. And what do we mean by modern? Well, still alive, I guess. But, I think of someone as almost one of my peers. I think Kenny Garrett's probably older than me, but, I remember listening when he came out on the scene in, was it the mid 80s, kind of around there. So, he was not somebody from the classic Blue Note era of Joe Henderson and Hank Mobley and those guys. So he was, sort of a more recent generation, and there's certainly a generation or two since Kenny Garrett. But fantastic player. This is, I want to say the name of the album is Songbook. I think the name of the song is Sing a Song of Song. This won the Grammy in 1997 for I think it was Best Jazz Performance of the Year or something. So Grammy winning album. And as I do the math, 97, to me, that's very recent. So I think there are probably some young people out there who weren't even close to being born yet. So yes, my sense of what modern is might be a little warped, but there it is. Kenny Garrett. And this tune became something of a modern classic. So, in the 90s, really for the last 20 years, if there's sort of a modern tune that gets played on gigs that might get called, this is kind of one of them. Sing a song, a song. The solo section has three chords basically, and you'll hear the opening. It's this beautiful bass line. To me, I've never talked to Kenny Garrett about it, but this is kind of coming from some Joe Henderson a little bit. I don't know if that's true, but I sure hear it. Joe did some albums in the 60s and 70s using exactly this kind of thing. So, and I know that Kenny Garrett is a colossal Joe Henderson fan. I know it from his playing. He's hired Joe for albums, so I don't think I'm going too crazy to say that there's some Joe Henderson in here. It's a really cool tune. It's got this beautiful extended bridge. It's very simple and beautiful. And so I think, if I'm going to put myself in Kenny Garrett's shoes, he wrote this amazing, sort of verse or chorus or whatever we want to call it, and it needed something else. So he wrote this kind of cool extended thing with these pretty chords, some gospel sort of flavors in there and everything. And then the soloing really happens over these three chords. So a one chord down to a flat six, I think it is, to a flat seven, to a one. So it's just these three chords going back and forth in a modal fashion. And this, what I love about this is it starts out very pretty and it goes, I'm not going to say not pretty, but it moves away from that place. We start going to some different countries on this tour. We start getting some North African, to my ears, sort of Islamic sort of sounds. Some harmonic minor starts sneaking in. So you'll hear Kenny and, well, two Kennys, the great Kenny Kirkland on piano. And in their solos, you're going to hear like, oh, where does this go? And it starts getting maybe a little ugly. It starts getting a little intense. It goes a direction you may not expect. And there was musical science behind that. Like, yes, Kenny is emoting. Yes, Kenny's on stage giving it all and he's sweating for you and all that. It ain't just that, right? There is science and there's mechanisms, and he made choices. I choose this scale now because this is going to get me a sound that makes you feel like that, right? The guy directing the movie that you're watching, the woman who's the director of photography, they're not just up there emoting. They know which light to turn on that makes you feel a particular emotion. They are manipulating you emotionally. That's what great art does, right? So Kenny understands the tools of the trade. He knows how to manipulate you and which note to hit at which time in which register of his alto sax to make you feel a particular way. It's fascinating, right? Sometimes it's very conscious and sometimes it's subconscious because he is an artist. He is emoting. So I never mean to take away from all that, the great emotional aspect that's going on. But the bottom line is we can talk about what's happening. So let's jump into this thing. Kenny Garrett on the alto saxophone, the great, gone far too soon Kenny Kirkland on the piano. It's Jeff Tain Watts on the drums, creating plenty of energy as always. Nat Reeves on the bass. And here we go, Sing a Song of Song. Piano and bass playing this written bass line, right? First chord, second chord, third chord, back to the first chord. And that's the basis of the song. Really cool drum feel, right? Backbeat on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it gives it kind of this, there's a lot of energy in the cymbal, but it's this cool laid back vibe because of that cross stick. And there's a shuffle. Zackadoo, dackadoo, dackadoo, dackadoo. So it's swing 16ths. So this is sort of the bridge part over the same set of changes. The changes have not changed. Go back to the melody. Very memorable. It's an earworm. It's going to stick with you all day. You're welcome. I think this is the real bridge here. So now we get these chord changes. And this is the release that the song kind of needed, right? And this cool extension here. And back to the theme. And these 3 chords is what we're going to hear for the next 5 minutes. First chord, second chord, third chord, first chord. Solo over the 3 chords. So it's just a 4-measure vamp. That's all that's going on for the next 5 minutes. 4 measures over and over again. Kenny Kirkland. Okay, so we're starting to get a little hint of we're getting away from the happy major stuff. I'm going into some chord playing as opposed to just the single lines. Woo! And the bass is still playing that bass line. Has not left it. Things are getting a little crazy, and he's still right there. That's a big decision. Okay. So now we're in Cuba a little bit. A little sort of Montuno octave vibe there. Killer modern post-bop language, playing outside, side-slipping, whatever that is. And then this rhythmic playing. It's always... Okay. Very pretty. Melodic. Okay. All right, so we're hearing some notes in here that aren't in the melody. A little intensity. Kenny is swinging for the fences. Woo! What is that? Kind of harmonic minor. Intensity. And here is sound. There's a fast vibrato. That's really, he's very intense. I keep using that word. This repetition. Lots of patterns. There's that beat, there's that backbeat, but now on the snare drum. Patterns. Woo! So we're in North Africa now. All that repetition. Like, yeah, so he was bringing it down, right? We could hear he was playing solo ideas that were literally coming down in direction. Earlier in the solo, he was climbing. He was letting us know his solo was coming down by literally coming down. And the bass, I don't think, has ever left that bass line, ever. Right. So, bet you didn't know we were going there if you hadn't heard this song before. So, pretty cool, right? And I'm pretty sure on YouTube you can find live versions of Kenny playing this tune, and his solos are 3 times as long as that, and they go. I mean, talk about intensity. So that idea of playing something really pretty and taking it to a whole new place. So some could say, like, I don't like it. I played this song for people like, wow, what a pretty song. And about halfway through, they're like, I don't know what this song is, but I hate this. They're not expecting it, right? So where would we get a framework for that? Well, these guys right here, Tain and Elvin, right? And McCoy, yeah. So Jimmy Garrison, that idea of playing the Coltrane's quartet, right? And so clearly, all 4 of these guys love that quartet, and taking something like My Favorite Things or Greensleeves or whatever, some pretty, tuneful song, and exploring it and taking it to unexpected places and doing it effectively. So, whether you like that solo or not, it is very clear who Kenny Garrett is, what he stands for, where he's going, what he's about. There's zero question. And you can say, I don't dig that, or you can say, yeah, man. But that's a great artistic voice, right? Somebody who's immediately recognizable, someone who's taking a chance and going for it. Was Kenny Garrett taking a chance? Well, that's what great artists do, right? If you don't have any skin in the game, I don't know that we can call it art. If you're not taking a chance, it's not exactly art. If you're not telling me who you are and what you stand for and what you don't stand for, it's not art. It's great craft. So there are fantastic, famous jazz musicians out there who spend a lot of their careers crafting fantastic music. I'm probably one of those people. The artist is someone that creates a voice and goes with that voice and develops that voice. So, Kenny Garrett. So, for those of you that know Kenny Garrett, you're probably not surprised because you know who he is as an artist, how he goes, right? So, so those of you that know Kenny Garrett, yeah, okay, this kind of makes some sense. Those of you that don't know Kenny Garrett, fantastic musician. He came up as a young guy playing with Woody Shaw and Freddie Hubbard, and has had an astounding career and winning Grammys, right? So it's kind of cool. So I didn't really realize we were going to go in this direction of what's an artist necessarily, but it seemed like a cool thing to sort of talk about here. And it would be great to get out your instrument, those of you who are players, and find out there's a handful of notes that he and Kenny Kirkland kept kind of getting to give this like North African Islamic whatever sound. What is that? What is that note? Well, I kept mentioning harmonic minor. That's a good framework to think of, but not harmonic minor based on the root. I've said too much. Figure it out for yourself. And I will see you inside Jazzwire. I'm sure we'll be talking about this song and this solo plenty. Thanks for hanging out on the Guided Listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Kenny Garrett, Kenny Kirkland, Nat Reeves, Jeff Watts, sing a song of song.